how's it going, everybody? I'm going to do an updated build on my DPS spec. It seems to be working the best that I've seen on the server. Haven't had anybody else out DPS me yet, so it must be the right thing to do. Alright, so a lot of the same things from my first one are the same as far as actives are concerned. It's got safety off, blaze, actually 3-round burst. Since I'm using Seal the Deal passive, Seal the Deal does not proc off of 3-round burst, so you have to use another one. I use Fire in the Hole. It's a really crappy spell, I think, but there's really not many other options as far as a finisher that will proc Seal the Deal. So Fire in the Hole, do or die. Do or die gives that 25%. It's better than any other elite active out there as far as DPS is concerned, because it's a 25% increase overall, which is really good. Anima Charge, there's a little trick with Anima Charge. If you're not casting, you don't want to cast it when you're casting, because it's not on the same global cooldown as everything else. So you make sure you're not casting, and then you cast it, and you can blaze twice in a row with 0 resources, which is really nice. Then I've got a support here for short fuse for the group. The passive, I don't have room for it, but 15% is still better than nothing. And then every DPS needs a threat drop. Confuse is definitely one of the best I've found, the most useful. You can change out Confuse if you feel your tank can hold threat on you. I've run with tanks that are full epics. I've run with tanks that have attack gear on, and in most cases I still pull threat off of them. So Confuse is almost mandatory every time, once you get to a certain point of DPS. Alright, on to the actives. Got a lot of the same ones as well, but I've been messing around trying to see what does the most DPS, and this seems to be the best right now. Keep in mind, Aidelon does 100% chance to crit when the target is afflicted. I do not currently have any passes that are affliction, or that cause affliction. I run with a group that has somebody who runs affliction, so I don't need to worry about having that passive on. If you are not in a group that has affliction, you should be running Bloodsport over here in the Fist Tree. It's one of the best for afflictions. Next down the line is Highly Strung. It's the same as my other build. Whenever you use a consumer that gets your elemental resources down to 0, your damage is increased by 10% for 6 seconds. So for your rotation, you would be using Safety Off 3 times, then you would be using Blaze, and then Fire in the Hole, or even 3-round burst. If you're going to stick with 3-round burst, you should be using Live Wire or something else that might increase overall damage. Ferocity is good because of your safety off. It'll proc off of safety off. It does not proc if the other hits hit. It only counts on the first hit, so you'll still need to attack 3 times before it gets to the max stacks. Twist the Knife is a really nice one as well. With Ferocity and Twist the Knife, you get to an 18% damage increase overall, and it doesn't come off unless you're doing a phase change or anything. Next is Elemental Presence. I found that min-maxing your attack that does the most damage, which would be Blaze, is the best way to go as far as increasing DPS. Fever Pitch is definitely a must for any DPS. As soon as you start getting into nightmares, you're going to notice that you're glancing a lot, or they're evading a lot. The tanks and maybe one of the DPS will always be weakening the boss, so there's absolutely no reason not to run with this 50% less glancing chance. And then finally, Seal the Deal. Whenever you activate a resource consumer, you gain a beneficial effect that will cause your next resource consumer to deal 20% more damage. So your rotation, I said a little bit backwards earlier, you would use safety off 3 times, and as you can see in my bar here, I don't actually have the seal the deal icon next to my sprinting or anything. So you have to activate it, and to activate it you need to use another consumer. So it only works on every other consumer, so you need to time it by using your fire in a hole or whatever other ability you find useful, and then use your blaze once you see the seal the deal icon. You just keep doing that back and forth. Increases DPS by a lot, since it's 20% on the blaze. Alright, thank you for watching. If you have questions, feel free to jump on my stream and ask.